It looks like I'm crying, but I'm not. I'm just tired, I think. Hello, welcome back. I was gonna say, oh my gosh, I haven't just like sat down and chatted to you guys in a while, but I realized that the order that I've uploaded videos, I uploaded one of these really not very long ago, but in like the world that I'm living in, I haven't sat down and filmed like this in like a couple weeks. So for me, it feels like I haven't done this in a while. I've actually been putting this off for forever, so I'm so sorry if you asked me a question on Instagram like a really long time ago and I never replied to it. I apologize. But today we're gonna be getting ready and answering a couple questions. April 22nd. Y'all can't see it, but literally April 22nd is when I screenshotted this. So, you know, it's almost been exactly a month, but we're doing good. Today I just wanted to sit down and answer some questions. This could be about like anything. Obviously a lot of them are about Disney because that's what my life tends to revolve around and that's what people tend to ask me. But some of them are just about me and other things. Like always, if you would like to subscribe, if you enjoy this, please subscribe. Welcome. We're almost at 5K. I mean, we're like 500 people away from 5K, let's be honest. But like, we're almost at 5K, so that would be cool. If you ever want to be like a part of these or you have questions that you'd want to ask me, hit me up on Instagram. I always ask this on Instagram. That is where these will be posted. So usually I pop it up somewhere here on the screen, but all my links are always down below as well. I realized that I don't have a moisturizer or primer besides the oil that's been on my face all night. So let me go grab that real quick. Also, not to be that bitch, but I have nails again and I feel like a newborn human. If you guys have been on this channel for a very long time, you would know that I had nails for like 2 years back before my first Disney program and I miss them so much. I did them myself, so before you're out here being like salons aren't open, social distancing, I almost never leave my house, so you can't get at me for that. I literally spent $40 on nail supplies and like from far away they don't look bad. But how are you guys doing? Because I'm doing oddly good. I don't know if I've talked about this before in a video, but as much as like obviously the world is falling apart, I'm an introverted person and the world really was like, hey, you don't have to talk to any other human beings for like 16 weeks. You don't have to go to work and you're still gonna make 2K a month. Not the worst scenario in the whole world. I know the people who are like more extroverted out there are not having a good time right now, so I hope you guys feel better once the world starts to open up a little bit, which it's already doing now. Like, I don't know about you guys, where I am, we're in phase 1. I think it started today or tomorrow, which is where things like start to kind of open up. My work isn't until phase 3, so like I can't do anything. My mom bought me these sponges from Winners for Christmas and I already don't recommend them. I'm doing fine. I hope you're doing good. Hope everyone's mental health is, well, I don't think anyone's mental health is thriving, but I hope your mental health is doing moderately okay. This one is not Disney, shocking enough. There's a hair on my lip. Someone asked, what different makeup brands do you suggest for people on a budget? I am not the best person to ask this because if you don't know, I am kind of a high-end fiend and I entirely blame that off of the fact that I worked at Sephora for like 5 years and I've just been surrounded by high-end makeup for forever. The only really like budget makeup that I use is like, this was the foundation I used, but it's discontinued, so that's not a good example. I buy a lot of high-end makeup on sale, I guess. That's like kind of my tip. So obviously the more you spend, the more perks you get, which is like annoying, but I am a rouge at Sephora, so I literally don't shop unless an item is on sale. I have a gift card, I can redeem rouge points for a gift card, or it is one of their like promotions. So I bought a ton of stuff like this past month because they were doing their spring promotion, which is 20% off, and then I ended up buying a bunch of stuff that was on sale. I do have a video coming up that's like a quarantine haul, so the few things that I have bought while we are in lockdown, and you'll see I talk a lot more about like things that I bought, like sale items and then on sale and then using promos. Products that I do use that are a bit cheaper, I don't use them a ton just because I find I get into like, I don't know how to describe it. I get into like ruts where I'll use the same thing over and over and over again, but I do have a lot of ColourPop, so they're really good quality. It's really hit or miss. Like, some people love their concealer. I hate their concealer with a passion, but I like a lot of other stuff from them. Skincare wise, I use a lot of The Ordinary products. This is like my holy grail bronzer. You've seen it a million times. This is the Physicians Formula bronzer. Yeah, like my blushes, highlighters. I own a lot of stuff from the ColourPop Disney collections. Obviously, I'm pretty sure I have a whole video on this collection. I should use this foundation. I forgot I bought this. Speaking of cheap foundations, The Ordinary. I use a lot of expensive stuff, but I buy a lot of it on sale. So I also use up every single teeny tiny like penny of anything I have. So this contour stick I've had for 800 years. It's from Fenty. If you are very pale, this shit slaps. But I am running out of it now. I did buy a new one, but I'm literally rubbing my finger in the little nub that I have left to get every little bit out, and then I might try and scrape out this too. I don't buy a lot of things. I don't buy clothes. I don't buy shoes. I don't buy jewelry. I don't have a bunch of tattoos. I don't get lash extensions. I don't get my nails done. So the one thing that I spend a ridiculous amount of money on that I don't need is makeup. Do you think Disney will postpone or cancel internships next year? I, at this point, don't think they will, because we obviously don't know when the parks will be up and running, but when they are running, they'll need staff. I recommend watching this video up here. I'll link it. I talk about the cancellations this year more in depth to kind of give you an idea of my thoughts about that. With the way that they've worded it, they sent out a survey to spring CPs, obviously. Also, I'm only wearing one earring because I lost one. I don't know if I mentioned that, so just ignore my little butthole ear on that side. And some people were saying that that survey was like invalid. There was a bunch of like issues about what was actually going to happen. So I'm just covering up more sad redness. But I think canceling the whole Fall Advantage program, and then realistically I wouldn't be surprised if they had to cancel some of the fall program too. I think they'll need people in the spring. I think they'll need a shit ton of people in the spring. I don't know. I think they'll need people. They might have like different numbers. So in the past, if they accept, you know, say 5,000 people, which I don't think it's that many, but say they accept 5,000 people in the past, maybe they'll accept like 4. So it may not be as big, and I think it'll be limited roles, because obviously we don't know what's going to be open. People keep speculating like, oh, Epcot's not going to open till later, or this isn't going to open till later, which I'm kind of in the Epcot's not going to open till later park, because like, how are you going to open a park right away when you have no staff at World Showcase because everyone got sent home? I think roles will be limited. I think hours will be limited. I think a lot of people, it could go either way. People could either be like riding that minimum 28 hours a week, whatever it is, or they could be getting a crap ton of hours because other people aren't working. But I think it'll get to a point where Disney will have to pay part-time and full-time a certain amount, and those people, as I mentioned in that video that I linked, will get priority. So if you get accepted as the role of custodial, would you still go and do a program? And this is hard to me because I feel like I always say like, oh, I got so lucky, which I did. And I would like never go back for any role outside of entertainment. But then the more I think about it, the more I'm like, you know what? Merch would be kind of fun. And then, you know what? Attractions would be fun because I didn't really get to work a ride. And then like this would be, and then I like talk myself into a bunch of other roles that I would maybe like. I'm torn because honestly, maybe. Custodial is pretty much never offered. I think like I've seen one Canadian ever get it. So I don't think about custodial, but I saw so many people in entertainment that were custodial transfers. And if you want to stay with the company long term, custodial is a fantastic role to have because you can have a beautiful record card with custodial. You are doing so much one-on-one like guest interaction compared to other roles. If you think about like with character attendant, like sometimes I would stay on super great a lot of locations they said you were supposed to, but no one did. But like most of the time your job was working with your performer and with your entertainment team to make things go smoothly, and you weren't actually dealing with guests a lot besides like cameras ready, autograph books, like things like that, scanning cards, you know, basic stuff. You weren't really having like magical moments necessarily as an attendant if the character was involved a lot of the time, unless you were like setting up, I don't know, like certain shots and stuff. But even that, like that's your photo pass a lot of the time. It was hard to have one-on-one, and then obviously like I had some good moments at Typhoon because like exit greeting and stuff like that. But again, at attractions, you're loading on a ride, things are going really fast unless you're giving out fast passes or doing things like that. It's hard to have like really personal moments with guests. Where custodial, like, you're just chilling. Like, you're hanging out, you're walking around, you're cleaning things. Obviously you have certain duties, but you can talk to guests more, interact with guests more. Guests love stickers and you have stickers. So if you want to stay with the company and you want to have a good record card and you want to look like a great employee with a bunch of cast compliments, custodial slaps. And I feel like custodial falls kind of in the same family as parking, where people like shit on it a lot, but then if you actually talk to someone who worked custodial, like everyone loved it. So I don't know if I personally would be able to do it only because of my experience, like getting to work in attractions and entertainment. I just had such a good experience with those roles that I don't know if I could personally do it, but I think if I was offered custodial on my first program, I would have 1000% taken it, because I didn't know what else you could get, if that makes sense. What is your dream job? This, if we're talking Disney, I will never get my dream job because I am a Canadian. Meep moop, sorry. Obviously, like, I think guest relations would be really fun, and it's like what I have experience in. I'm gonna try and add Aqua Seal to this dried up crusty brow pomade. Just see how it goes. In terms of like DCP and like college program options, like attendant was my dream role. And I think that is clear. I was good at it. I liked it. I would go back in a heartbeat. Like, I don't think twice about it. So that was my dream role in terms of like DCP stuff. Obviously, if I could like work in an offices working with something like, ooh, this is really liquidy, like Disney Parks vlog or on the media team, like that would be really fun, because obviously I do have a communications degree. If you don't know, that's my secondary degree. Outside of Disney, I don't know, like I don't expect to ever be popular or well known, and I don't ever expect YouTube to make me enough money to survive. But if it got to a point where even I could work like a basic job and YouTube could let me like go on vacations and travel and go to the parks and things like that, like that would be fun to make money off of it, because I do love social media. Working in branding for a company, if I found a company that I was really passionate about, would be super fun. With communications, I love looking at analytics and search engine optimization and things like that, like branding and promotions and public relations and all those things. Like that's kind of what I lean towards. I did a lot of publishing classes in my communications degree, but I also know that's a very common job for people, especially in this day and age, where like every girl in the entire world is like, I want to run the social media for, I don't know, makeup brand. That's my experience in and that is all my education is in, so that's why I think it would be interesting. Would you ever move to Orlando permanently? If I could, I would think about it. I don't know if I would. It would be a tough call to make for me, just because I don't love Florida as a whole. If someone said, would you move to California permanently and work at Disneyland? Wouldn't think about it. Would move today. End of story. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not drawn necessarily to Orlando outside of Disney, where when I look at Southern California, I love the surrounding area and I love the vibe of it and I love the culture of it more than Orlando, probably because it's in Florida. I do think if it was like move to Orlando and work for Disney, I would do it, because that's obviously something that I am passionate about and care about. But I don't know, other than that, if I could just move to Orlando. Obviously I still want to visit and stuff, but I don't know, I'm just a West Coast kind of person. Also, I can't because I'm Canadian, so. Do you ever see yourself going back to work for Disney after all of this is over? And yes, in what facet, I do not know. I kind of talked about this on Instagram, and I don't want to go like super in depth, but if you made it this far into the video, hi, I was essentially accepted for another job with the company, and then after they told me that, you know, your interview was great and we love you and you're an ideal candidate, I had to send them a photo of my tattoo and it was too big. So that's upsetting because it was going to be a job that I thought that I would be very good at. So obviously I would go back with the company, because if they had taken me back and my tattoo was smaller, I would be waiting to get more information on that now. I do want to apply when CRP, where if you're not international and you don't know what that is, if you have gone into Epcot and talked to someone in a pavilion, they're from that country, they are on the CRP, which is the Cultural Representative Program. It's a 1-year visa. You work in your country in a specific role. I am going to apply for that probably when it opens up. Last year I had an issue with my costuming record where they said my record was fine, and I knew it wasn't fine, but they reassured me it was fine, and then shocking, it wasn't fine. And then all of my applications got declined because of that, because they told me they would re-review my application, and then I got sent to someone else who said, no, we don't do that. It was a whole thing, and that's why I ended up not going to Disney at all, besides the world is shut down, but you know what I mean. So I will apply for that when that reopens. I'm still like on and off in school. I don't know. I don't even know what I am anymore. So I could apply for the summer program again, but at this point I feel like I worked my 2 dream roles. I had 2 amazing programs. I made lifelong friends. I love my roommates. I love my friends. I love everyone. So I can't imagine going back and having a better program. So that's what kind of hinders me from wanting to do another summer. At this point, if I'm going back to work with the company, I want to do it on a longer term basis, if that makes sense. Favorite food? Ooh, we're talking like sweet food. I love ice cream so much. This is probably why I am not skinny. Savory food, pizza, or like fettuccine alfredo. Ooh, or like a good carbonara but without the bacon, because I don't eat meat. But all those are good. Are you planning a Disney trip for later this year / next year? This was obviously asked before the world started to shut down. As you probably know, I had a trip planned for May that got canceled because Corona. So that was really sad and upsetting. And then at one point I was toying being like, oh, like I want to go for Halloween. What if I go in October? And honestly, at this point, like, your girl keeps getting government money, so I could 100% go. But I don't know if I want to, or if I would rather save up and use my flight credit to go next spring, because I will probably talk about this in another video, but I love characters and parades and shows, and I personally cannot see myself spending the full price of a Disney trip as someone who's not an annual pass holder to go and not have character meet and greets. It just, I can't do it. Someone said guest horror stories. That'll probably be a whole video of its own coming up. People ask about guest horror stories constantly. At one point I was like, I don't even have that many. Like, honestly, like, attending was so good. I had like way more positive guests attending than at like parking and front entrance. Like, guests were so nice. And then I started like writing down like not even necessarily bad guests, but just like weird guests that I had, and I was like, okay, so there's more than I thought. This I kind of answered already, but someone said, what are your plans for the future career aspirations? Like I said, Disney wise, I'm hoping they open up the CRP applications in the fall. Normally they'll open like some random time. Like last year it was March, 2018 it was July, and then they typically interview in Toronto in the fall, and then they do their Vancouver interviews in January after the CEP, or right before the CEP interviews. We'll see if it opens for the fall, then it opens for the fall, but they didn't open for us until November of last year, so I'm just kind of keeping an eye on the website, assuming it'll open in November, and we'll go from there. Otherwise, I'm gonna go back to my job here. I have one of those jobs that's hard because we're such a small company that like you can only really move different places if someone above you quits. So I wish I could stay with my job for forever, but I don't know if I'll be able to. I should probably get an adult job, as I call them, which would be something related to my career that I've been putting off for years. So I would love to look into, you know, social media, marketing, branding kind of jobs. There's so many people in school that have done internships and part-time jobs and things related to that, and I have no experience applying for jobs that I have no experience in. So that stresses me out. I could also go back to school for like 6 months and get my like certification, I guess, in paralegal and go do that. Or even now, if I wanted to, I could go apply for legal administrative assistant jobs. Because if you don't know, that's what my other degree is in. Who knew? I think I give off like dumb vibes sometimes. I've said this to my friends before. Like if I was like, guess my degree, everyone would be like communications, English, like psychology. Like I don't give off smart girl vibes, and I know I don't, so it's okay. I could go get that, but I don't want to just like sit in an office and work for old white men for the rest of my life. Like that's not what I want. It's hard because everything kind of gets put on hold for Disney. Disney is such a long process, and like there's people who applied last November who still haven't heard back about an interview, and it's been like 9 months. Like you could apply for Disney and then not interview for 6 months and then not get a job offer for 6 more months, and then your start date could be a year after that. So you really have to put your whole life on hold for Disney, and that's what sucks. Because if I could go back and like know I was going back in the next 6 months to a year, 100% great. But at what point am I old? Like I'm old in the Disney world. At what point do I need to go get like a big girl job and a grown-up job, and I can't just like sit around working for Disney? In my mind, I can wait for forever. But my mother and the rest of the world disagrees, so I don't know. I also don't hate where I live, but I moved back to my hometown after my programs, and that's how I got my job. And don't get me wrong, I love my job and I have friends through my job, and I love like my coworkers, and I love my boss and all that, but I don't love this city. So I don't necessarily want to like look for a job and settle down here because I don't want to be here the rest of my life. So that's my struggle, but I also can't afford to like go back to Vancouver, which is what I really love. So life's hard. Being an adult is hard. No one tells you how hard being an adult is, and I regret it. This look low-key demanded lashes, and I said no. So I'm sorry if my eyelashes disappoint you in any way, shape, or form. We're done. I answered some questions. We talked it out. I feel good about this. I hope everyone is staying healthy and as happy as they can be and safe as they start to lift restrictions. I'm one of those people that even though things are opening up, I'm like, maybe don't go. Like I know you want to go to the beach, but if 5,000 people are going to the beach, maybe now's not the time to go to the beach. But that's just my personal opinion, so I'm going to continue to social distance. I did order a mask online, so I'm going to be one of those bitches wearing a mask. Once that comes, like I am a big advocate for you making your own choices, only if those choices involve you being a responsible adult and not an asshole. So I hope this is somewhat interesting to you guys. Fun, entertaining, I don't know. Like I said, if you ever want to be a part of this and you have questions, things like that, you can follow me on Instagram. That's where I'll always ask them. I tend to do one of these like once every couple of months. I may do it as like a once a month thing. I don't know. Also, if you have any other questions that are more like immediate things that you just want to know about programs or Disney or just my life, I don't know, you can ask them in the comments down below as well. I usually hang out for at least like the first 5 hours. I feel like once I upload a video, I usually don't go anywhere, and I don't upload on the go anymore because we're all stuck at home. So you can ask in the comments down below. All my other links to things like Twitter, TikTok, I don't want to talk about it, Snapchat that no one uses anymore, those are all down below. Like I said, if you want to subscribe, that would be great. I would love to get to 5K. I have nothing about that number that's important, but maybe it'll make me feel better about myself. Who knows? I'm probably gonna go film some other things now, and I will see you guys in like probably a couple of days or something like that. I don't know. Bye.